Well, Gary and I went out, and it was not a good day it was windy. Nobody was out there, man. There was like 10 people in the park. I thought there'd be 200. It was windy. No fishing, no skiing. I've been out there when there's a little wind. It was all right. It still is kind of better. Still is definitely better, You can't, it's moving you around. But, we just talk. Gary talks. We talked. It's fine. No problem. That'd be better go by yourself. I don't know. I always want to find a friend, but maybe that doesn't work. Maybe it will, I think. Gary and I, I've been sick. I had 2 strokes, and I haven't gotten off the couch for a year. Gary and I used to meet every week and meditate together. We're a little starved for one of those company, I guess. I'm starved for anybody's company. I haven't done anything. I'm feeling a lot better, just in the last couple of weeks. Finally. It was nice being out there. It wasn't hot, It was nice being out there, but we didn't see too many Dakinis. The Dakinis were fierce. They were fierce today. They were wrathful today. But it was nice. I don't know. Maybe I'll never be able to teach this to anybody else. If you get you a level A partner, you got no problems, man. You're sailing. I'm not sure. I'm not sure about the level B partners. But it was nice, we could have done it. No problem. It just didn't happen today, but there were circumstances. Ooh. It was nice to be out there. I just need to go out there, say I'm here. I don't need to go 3 months in the summer and never get to the lake. That's just depressing beyond belief to me. But last year, I don't think I went. I didn't go once. The year before, maybe I did pretty good, but like the year before that, I only went out once or twice or something. I don't know. I like getting out there on a regular basis, whether or not I can find a friend or not. If I ever got a girlfriend, I bet sometimes it's hard to talk to your girlfriend into doing that if it's not their thing, being in the water. I don't know. I kind of did this. My last series of videos was out at the lake, and I did all this. And I made 2 videos. One, I kind of just covered in that last video some of the topic. And maybe I'll cover the other topic of the other video that messed up. But anyway. We're talking again about getting enlightened through sound. The gazing, you could say, is getting enlightened through sight. Definitely. Number one thing is, your body and mind are together, and there's a lot that goes into it before we start talking about gazing and sight and sound. But at some point, we get into the gazing sight. But they talk about the imprint of a bird in the sky. In a way, that's gazing is all, there's amazing stuff all over the place in gazing. But for just the ordinary guy, even, you just see a bird in the sky and it's just there, vivid for the momentary, and then it's gone forever. That's a big analogy for our life, but it also how thoughts work, how you relate with thoughts, they appear and they're gone, and that's it. That's all you got to know. Thoughts appear, they're vividly there, and they're gone like that. It's just shocking. Catch a bird sometime. It'll blow your mind. It's very important. And I'm sure there's other things, I can't think of any of them right now. But, watching your guru walk across that stage, especially as his name's Chogyam Trungpa, watch him drink a glass of water and die. Just fall dead. Because you've never seen anything like that. You'll never see anything like it again. That will never be repeated. What Trungpa Rinpoche can do with anything, any object, you'll never see that again. You'll never see that again. You will never see that again. He was a master Alexander teacher and practitioner. For one thing, I'll tell you that. He was it. He was the highest of the high in terms of teaching. What did he used to say? What was he always saying? I can't afford to be in a hurry. Think about that shit. You and I throw away our lives hurrying to get to the next big event, the next thing. We can't stand the moment we're in. We've got to hurry to get to the next thing. And in the meantime, we completely throw away a beautiful, precious human life. He couldn't afford to do that. He was a rich man, but he couldn't afford. That's one thing he could not afford. He could not afford to be in a hurry. You should take that to heart. And, that's a little bit of a visual thing in a way. But, personally, when you're doing it, it's not necessarily visual, but when you see it, that's visual. And their visions are visual, dreams are visual, sunlight is visual, moonlight is visual. A lot of visuals. Make it wake you up, get you enlightened, shock you into that state. I've seen some things that shocked the shit out of me. I went to a tea ceremony in Kyoto at Mrs. Shibata's tea ceremony school, and they had this woman kind of doing the serving, and when she walked, viewed from behind, her behind would move like a foot and a half right and left as she took one step after another. I was like, I've never seen anything like that in my life. In your life, have you ever seen anything like that? It's something about the way the Japanese walk. They're loosey-goosey. They like to be not frozen. That girl was not frozen. But she had a little bit of a affectation, but they want that affectation. They want to show you don't need to be a frozen person. Your hips need to move. Your hips need to move. The regent pointed out to me that what a tight ass I am, that my hips didn't move. Unlike him, he couldn't do what that girl could do, but he did all he could. Trungpa Rinpoche, I saw 1,000 things that blew my mind. How unbelievable it was when he took a drink of water, or if it was sake or water, it didn't matter. water or sake in a glass. It did not matter, man. It was like making love to that glass. I've seen some other things maybe, but I can't think of them at the moment. A great horse and rider. If you see somebody that can really, the gurus, a lot of the gurus, none of them are like Trungpa Rinpoche, but they're something. Just Khyentse Rinpoche, Dzogchen Khyentse Rinpoche. The way he dresses and, watch him in these films he's in. Oh my God. What an artist of just being, all the gurus. Your guru is going to be that and more. But then there's like sounds. This is my great story about sounds. I read this story 10 times. All the lamas of a certain age tell the same damn story. I was a very young man, and one night, Patro Rinpoche, who was like, one of the greatest teachers ever, took me for a walk. And we just walked away from the monastery, a couple of miles, up toward the foothills. Then at night, then we just laid down in the grass. And we just laid there for a little while listening. And Patro Rinpoche said, "Can you hear the dogs barking?" And that's when they got enlightened. It's a long way from the monastery, but the dogs were barking off in the distance. And that sound, when pointed out by the teacher, in the right moment, was their moment of enlightenment. Bird song, bird song, bird song, bird song, bird song, bird song, bird song. If you ignore bird song, you are missing out on a big enlightenment opportunity. I used to love mourning dove. Now I started feeding birds, and now I can't stand these big birds that eat all the food. But that's mourning dove, their song is something else. I quit feeding birds just so I can go back to loving the mourning dove. Anything kind of like that surprises, you're sitting there on a sailboat and a dolphin comes up, wonk, and then he's gone, There's the visual. That's the visual in one of them. And then there's making love to a woman is like, all those things, touch, smell, eating and smelling incense. And, But, the gay, you get your mind together, and then you got to get your gazing together if you're going to progress. You got to get your sight thing harmonized with how the Buddhas do it, You got to see like a Buddha, man, which is not this neurotic thing of grabbing here, grabbing there. I've talked about this in other videos. until you get your mind going, you got to get your mind smooth and in order and riding on your horse, and then you got to include. But from day one, we include the visuals, we put you on the spot and say, don't jump around so much. And you find yourself, all you do is jump around. And then gradually, because you're following the instructions, you train yourself not to jump around, grab after grab after grab with your vision. And pretty soon you just rest in your vision, and you learn how to do that. Until you learn how to do that, no point in looking up any, but then you start moving forward where you can look straight ahead and do that, sort of, so to speak, gradually. And it's backing up and down. That's more shamatha. That's shamatha. That's vipassana. So you alternate. You go back down and start in every session, and then you work your way up. You alternate. Shamatha and vipassana. I don't know. I guess I have anything else to say. When you walk out your door, man, you're entering nature, and if you just go out in nature, then you're really entering nature. Spend a lot of time in nature with your mind working on Dzogchen, and you'll get a lot of benefit from it. But even no matter what you do, listen, man, listen. Your guru is going to try to wake you up, and the guru at the phenomenal world is going to try to wake you up with a surprise that stops your mind. Thank you very much.